All right, welcome back to my channel. And so today we're going to do kind of a fun look, okay? And I'm going to try to describe it as if you're a beginner, because you probably are, to cut crease. And if you're not or you're struggling with it, I do want to show you how you can kind of make it a little bit easier on yourself. So I'm going to talk about the cut crease look. It's gained a lot of popularity in the beauty community, and basically it's the ability to define that eyelid and create a striking contrast between the eyelid makeup and then the crease and above. So it's basically characterized by sharply defining that crease line, which serves to separate the eyelid, and then it can be very, very dramatic, but it actually doesn't have to be, okay? This distinct feature, it enhances the structure of the eye, but it allows for some play between a dramatic or more elegant, relaxed expression. So it is suitable for everyday wear, okay? This is something you can really play with, and it is something that you can create more bold when you're going from like your daytime to your nighttime eye looks. So I'm going to kind of describe what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to show you so you can, I'm a visual person, I got to see things. So you apply the transition shade. So you're going to apply that darker shade, and then you're going to pretty much draw in that lighter shade, okay? So if you thought they always did the light first and then did the brown or the black around it, you are kind of creating this really beautiful eye look, and then you're adding on a foundation shade typically to the lid to really draw your eye, but then creates this beautiful kind of sunset into other shades, okay? So it really allows the artist to carve out the crease precision, and it results in a really clean, sharp line that looks so beautiful with blended colors. So I'm just going to show you and describe to you kind of hopefully an easy way for you to achieve a cut crease at home. All right, so I'm really going to get close to the camera, not only because I need to see what I'm doing, especially that precision part, but I want you to be able to kind of see exactly what I'm talking about as I create the eye look. So first things first is you're going to prime the eye, okay? We want this all to be really cohesive, bright, but like no color. That's our blank canvas to start from. So I'm just going to add some of this on there. Today I'm using products from a few different lines. I'm going to be using some Saint products, and then I am going to use a little bit from my Vizio artist kit. All right, blank canvas. All right, and now what we're going to do from there is we are going to go into creating the shadow before the brightness. So we're going to put some of that color in the crease. And to show you how the flexibility in the cut crease, I'm actually going to use non-traditional colors. I'm going to actually use mauves, pinks, berries a little bit more. That way you can kind of see it can be pretty subtle, but fabulous still the same. All right, so I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to kind of create the line right above the crease where I want this look to really stand out. So I'm going to go into a deeper shade, kind of a mauvey shade here. And I'm just going to follow the brow bone. I'm just following kind of along where that crease is in my eye. And I wanted to show you both eyes because if I show you one eye already done and then I do the other one, I'm going to do the more difficult eye first to make sure it looks good, okay? Obviously, you want your eyes to look the same. So I'm going to show you right hand, left eye, how this is going to work. Once again, kind of use what you did on the other one as a guide, as well as where your crease naturally is. All right, and it's not a race, so, you know, go slow. I'm going to start adding a little bit more of a thicker line. I'm going to keep some fairly thin over by my, you know, the eye duct. All right, so I don't have really big hooded eyes. But if you do, definitely go above that crease. You want to go to the highest crease line, right? So if you don't have the same creases on both sides, if you crease higher on this side than this side, put your crease above this line, not this line, because you do want them to be a little bit more matchy-matchy. All right, so we've got that first shade, okay? The key here at this point is just going to be going really slow. Now I'm going to blend a lighter shade into there. Use a smudgier brush for that. I'm going to go into a slightly lighter shade. It's going to create a little subtlety while adding dimension because it's two different shades blended out versus adding another sharp line. And this is kind of where the magic happens, is blend, 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 okay? So don't skimp on that because that's what's really going to help. I do want to point out, a lot of artists use tape here to kind of cut off that line really smoothly. Tape is like a hot commodity in my house, okay? Everybody uses tape all the time, and then it's time to like wrap a gift and no tape, all right? So I'm just gonna show you how to clean this up when you're done with your look. All right, now I'm gonna add a little bit of a deeper shade. I do wanna use a brown shade just to kind of line out a little bit more of that dimension. So I am going to switch back to a more fine tipped brush. What I like about the fine tipped brush is it makes me feel like I have more control. Sometimes those fluffier brushes can really get out of control, and this kind of helps you pinpoint exactly the areas that you want to apply that makeup. So this is going to go just below and right above that crease, kind of where we had that other shade, that initial shade that we started with, okay? So you're seeing a little bit more definition on this side. I am going to carry this through. I think when we look at these eye looks that are being shown to us and we see the end result and we think like, oh, they just take this one shade to buff it out a lot. But then you kind of stop at the blending point because like it's like takes forever. It does. Okay, the key is in the blending. But we're going to do all that like hard blending stuff at the beginning. And then the cut crease, creating the cut crease is actually one of the easier parts. Don't lose your mind trying to make these absolutely perfect, okay? If you're placing the colors in the general area they're supposed to be, we are going to blend, okay? Makeup can be very forgiving. I don't want you to be stressed out over this. We can fix it, okay? We can blend it out, and then we just keep moving on. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that kind of brown area and I'm going to blend it into my crease. I'm going to take my nice fluffy eyeshadow brush for this one. And this is the magic, but this is the longest part entirely. So we're just going to keep blending. All right, this is where we're at, okay? We're almost done, okay? Now we are going to add the cut crease. Once again, I'm going to use more of a fine-tipped bristled brush and a very light foundation shade. For this, I am going to switch over to my other makeup kit. I'm going to grab a light foundation shade, okay? So it's something that's not white because that's going to create a very sharp contrast. Not to say that's a bad thing, but if we're going for more of a natural cut crease, I'm going to use something that's a little bit closer to this color here. It's still going to contrast because it's going to be so perfected in line going around on that lid. There we go. Ready? Easy eye, right? Right and right. I'm going to take it out. Now, I didn't bring it down to this tear duct. I brought it out past the tear duct, okay? It's going to elongate the eye a little bit. It's going to help it open up a little bit more. All right, I got two tips for you here. Okay, for one, it's a little bit more difficult to do this with your eye closed. And two, the eyelashes usually go on after the look, but that is more for like one night out, whatever. I have lashes that are already here, so I'm really struggling with working around them. You just got to alter how you hold the brush, okay? Do not give up. All right, so here we go. We're going to go on the other side now. I'm going to grab that light color just a little bit. I'm going to use the eye next door as a guide. If you have an extra hand, and I highly recommend it, I have little wrinkles on my eyes, and so I'm trying to get through that, and then I'm just going to fill in that area with that light foundation shade. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit more dimension with that brown shade on the outside. So pretend you're making like a letter L on one side or like an upside down 7. And that's just to make it a little bit more dramatic. Like I said, don't even worry about this outside. We are going to clean it up. If you want to create more of a dramatic look, you can add some liner, so black or brown. What I'm going to do is add a little bit of color to that lower lash line. I think it just kind of pulls the look all together. And then another thing you can do, you want this to stay in place, grab a powder that's similar to the shade it is, okay? So I'm actually going to not grab something like stark white. So once again, I am going to use a different brush. I find that using a different brush to blend is just better than the ones I applied with. That way I don't worry about moving the makeup around. So I'm going to grab a fairly light shade, and then I'm just dusting it on that whole area. It's going to keep, or at least minimize, any creasing. You have creases on your eyelids, no matter how young or old you are, okay? So it's really good to set it with powder regardless, because it's going to keep that creasing at bay a little bit better. All right, now we're going to clean up the edges. I want you to find a nice flat brush, okay? You're going to put some water on this. Just some water, okay? You can use setting spray as well, charged water, whatever. Get this wet. All right, we're going to come in here, okay? We're just going to bring that right through, and it really cleans up the edges. Super easy. You got kind of the dramatics here, but with the color, it's not super crazy. And that line pulls through to elongate and really open up the eyes a little bit, okay? It kind of goes from very bright to not so much. And actually, the part that's the best is when your eyes close and you can see that really pretty transition. All right, if this is a look that you like, stay tuned. I'm going to do some more fun looks and looks that are like really trending, but are easy, transition to a beginner kind of style. All right, so if you liked this, stay tuned because I'm going to show you more trending or fun eyeshadow looks, but something that can be done even for beginners, okay? This is something that anybody can do. It just takes patience, a steady hand, and a willingness to learn. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.